I'm sitting here in Mudgee in the Brewery. It seems like a regular place for me to come these days to meet with people. I'm sitting here with Brian McCarney, and it's been great to have a chat to Brian. Brian's been here in Mudgee for about 17 years now. And Brian, it's been interesting chatting, and you've got a huge amount of information and some great experience there. But what's your impression at the moment in Mudgee and how Mudgee's travelling from a state government perspective?
I got some worries about it. I'm really concerned, excuse me, about the amount of money that the state government's spending on the stadium in Sydney, where there are so many things that need to be done, provided across the state as a whole. And in particular in Mudgee, we need improved medical services. It's extremely difficult to get in to see a doctor, and if you see a specialist, there's a waiting period of weeks and weeks. So I think that the government would be better off keeping those existing stadiums that they've got and spending the $2 billion on regional New South Wales.
It does seem to be a common theme when I talk to people around the electorate that there is a lot of money being spent in Sydney, and it feels like regional areas, this electorate in particular, has been missing out. So your point there is certainly echoed by a lot of people around the area. So do you have any logic or any sort of thought about why we're missing out when the government has got unprecedented funds at the moment?
I just sort of think that the government has missed the plot. That they're trying to spend a fortune on infrastructure in Sydney, which is basically going on roads. The good thing that they are doing, they're spending money on trains, which I think is the thing that should have always happened. Sydney should be crisscrossed by rail rather than crisscrossed by roads. But the other thing is that in this area, we've just spent about $16 or $17 million on upgrading the Ewan Road, where that was a really good thing. It needed to be done. But the problem is that most of the roads around Mudgee need to be done. So we need to spend not 18 million, not 20 million, but most probably in this region, we need to spend about $50 million, but we need to bring people in to assist in building the roads, because we need the roads now, not in 20 years' time.
And that certainly helps the economy when you bring those people in as well, the multiplier effect.
It does. It has a big effect. It has effect upon the employment prospects of people in Mudgee, and it also affects the retail and the shopping, and they end up with a larger number of people coming in, spending more money, which has a multiplier effect as it travels through the economy numerous times through people's hands.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned the roads and some of those roads around Mudgee. I met with a lady the other night who was actually a bit of an activist in getting an upgrade of one of the roads around here, but it shouldn't need individuals in the community to be activists. You would hope that a government would be aware of what's required anyway and take the actions required for some of those road upgrades.
And you'd think that the government would have been listening to people over a long period of time. This has been going on ever since I moved up here, and I'm only a recent newcomer. I came up in 2002. But we really need to be looking very, very closely at doing things and improving. Some of the things that the council's done here are wonderful. Sculptures in the gardens, so that they've got sculptures in the gardens now. I think that civic development is the important part of our community. We need more of that, but we need it on a broader scope. Dubbo's got a really great museum and an art centre, but we're just about to develop an art centre, but it's going to be fairly small, but we need money for that. Like it's in the old Cudgegong Chambers. It's not a really big building by any means. This building is most probably, the brewery is most probably much bigger than that. So there's a real lot of scope for places such as Mudgee, Wellington, Narromine. These places need development as much as Dubbo does. Dubbo is fabulous, but we need to develop these other places so that people don't have to travel vast distances to see what should be normal everyday experiences, such as looking at the Archibald Prize.
And from a museum perspective, I've been very impressed with the museum in Goulgong, and there's been some great work done by a group of volunteers in Goldong to basically get to that museum where it is now. And I've heard some talk around Mudgee for that same sort of thing, which would be great to see at that same level here in Mudgee, because history, people really love looking at the history of a region, and especially when you bring new people in. As you said yourself, you haven't been here for that long in Mudgee terms, but it's good to be able to learn about the history of a region.
It is, and the other interesting thing about that museum at Goldong, so it's probably one of the best in Australia, especially what the materials it's got in it and the way that it's displayed is very, very sympathetic to the period that it's trying to represent.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see Bakelite phones, things of that nature.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for your time. I appreciate meeting with you today. It's great to get around and meet with people, and certainly some of those sentiments you're talking about there are echoed by many people, but it's good to hear new things as well. But it's been a pleasure sitting here chatting with you, and I look forward to seeing you a bit more over the next few months.
All the best, and all the best in the election.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Brian.